yeah, that includes buildings. So he's going to be able to clean up a lot of that. This is very much Brood War style, using the Ultralisk to tank all the damage, using the Zerglings to take out a lot of stuff with their high DPS. And these Zerglings, not really sure what these guys were after, but they are running through 2 planetary fortresses and a few tanks and some more planetary fortress, one more planetary fortress as well. It looks as if Zergie's going to clean up a lot of the buildings here in the main. He's going to clean up everything. But the counter to that is that the Vikings have done their work. Nestea is currently sitting on 158 over 46. He is currently sitting on a grand total of 4 overlords. That's these 2 dudes here, and I think there's like a couple in the middle. Either way, he does have a pretty nice force here in the middle. A lot of these ultras are actually a bit low on health, so you might want to be careful with the way he attacks here. Does he actually have any vision of what is here? He knows that the planetary fortresses are there, and a couple more overlords just getting cleaned up there, as you can hear from that Zergnie chick, whatever it is. Tanks on the side there, they're going to clean up a lot of these Banelings here, and the Banelings do go down. There's still a few left over. I'm not sure if he's going to be able to clean up too much, but the Ultras are here as well, and they are doing all sorts of damage all over the place. The SCV is madly rushing around to try and defend this planetary fortress by repairing it, but they do not succeed in that regard, and the SCV, look at this, pushing their way up the ramp, pushing in front of Ultralisk. Excuse me, I'm coming through here. But Ultralisk getting to work here in the main, and it looks as if some Vikings have landed here in the main of Nestea as well. They're going to try and take out some tech buildings. I'm not really sure what they're aiming for, but he really needs to clean up, try and stay on top of those overlords. If he can keep the overlords under control, he can actually re-macro all of his forces up, and then perhaps push in and actually take out a lot of what Nestea has, given that the only things left over here are these 4 Ultralisks that are inside the base, cleaning up a lot of these buildings. These buildings are actually creating a bit of an interesting funnel. I'm not sure if that was incidental or actually done on purpose by Zergie, but either way, he's cleaned up this island expansion. This is a very key part to this game at the moment, is actually making sure that he stays on top of what Nestea is doing, as he is now going to I think he might be able to defend against these Ultralisks. There's a few Marines here. If they use cover effectively, they might be able to actually stop them, not to mention the planetary fortress here making a meal of everything with its 40 damage to any sort of unit. And let's just see what else is going on. We've got another Nidus Swarm popping up here. So Nestea badly wants to take this island back, and he's also done a switch to Hydras. So we've got to switch across to Hydras along with some Spore Crawlers here defending these Overlords. Just by the way, obviously, if you're looking at the ticker, we're 40 minutes into this game, in game time. The Vikings flying around nearly get intercepted by all of these Hydralisks that are still here. Important thing to note is that these Hydralisks are currently sitting on +3 armor, but 0 for weapons. So they've got no upgrades on their weapons just at the moment, and it looks as if Nestea is just about to take this island expansion again. And Zergie is well aware of it. He's going to try and come across here and do what he can to take it out again. But it looks as if Nestea is prepared for that. He obviously knows that this is very, very key to the rest of this game, given that Nestea is currently sitting on a massive total of 80 minerals income. Where is that? Is that even... Oh, it's over here. This one mineral patch gone. Latest mineral patch, that one is all done. But it looks as if these Vikings still causing a lot of havoc here. They take down the... Hydra Den that was here. They just have vision of it on the low ground there and take it out quite nicely. So we're sort of moving into this later stage of the game here, where it is really more about making tactical decisions with how you position your units and how you actually make use of your units. So as you can see from Nestea's point of view, he's decided that Hydras are a good way to switch at the moment. Obviously he can't build any more at the moment because his Hydra Den's dead, but either way, he's switched to Hydras. He's got a little bit of vision of where these Vikings are going, and he wants to make sure he can keep an eye on that. He will need to keep on top of his creep shimmers as well. So he's switching into Hydras, namely to take care of the Vikings, of course. As you can see down here on the island, he's going to need to make sure this is controlled, because if any of these drones die, this is going to be Trouble City for Nestea. And another advantage of the Hydras is that there aren't, I'm not sure if he really actually knows it, but there aren't too many tanks left over just at the moment. He's only starting to rebuild the tanks, and if there is a way he can actually push in with the Hydras pretty quickly, he might be able to take out some of these structures here and slow down the economy of Zergie for the moment. But as you can see, these overlords just sort of hanging around this little spine crawler defense network here, and just making sure that they do not die. They're sort of worried about these Vikings that are flying around the map. So we've sort of moved into this, as I said, the late game part. As I said at the start of the game, we want this to be a bit more educational. So on the late game, because not too many games get to this point here, especially 40 minutes in, where you are currently sort of if you're in Nestea's position, you're sitting on one base with 11 billion drones sitting there mining, these few solitary mineral patches. And if you're in Zergie's position, he's sort of, let's just have a quick overview of what is here. We've got a bunch of tanks, we've got some Hellions, Marines, and obviously the Vikings that are flying around for air cover. Here they are. So he's sort of in a pretty decent position. There is no way that Nestea is going to be able to get in here anymore, now that Zergie is prepared. And the counter to that is that there isn't really any way in which what's his name? Holy crap! It's been like 45 minutes. I've forgotten his name. Zergie can actually push out, because if he's using tanks, as Terrans will know, you have to be really careful with when you siege and unsiege. Because if you siege at the wrong time, you could be in a bad position. If you unsiege at the wrong time, you can definitely get into a bad position. So for the moment, I think it looks as if he's sort of positioning his tanks in a defensive sort of position at the moment. Obviously wanting to make sure he can control these two bases here. I know there's not really too much left over here at these mineral patches, but he obviously wants to make sure he can control what he can. And these Hellions sort of floating around the map. If he ever gets Blue Flame, I don't think he has it just yet. No, he still doesn't have it. Not really sure why he hasn't done that. Pretty good upgrade, especially when you're against Zerg. But he will probably want to see what he can do with those Hellions. And these Vikings coming across to see what they can do, but nothing, because these Hydras are sitting here covering the main. He wants to make sure that he can keep his tech structures up and running. If he does not want to lose those, namely because he doesn't want to spend the minerals he doesn't have, e.g. all of these. I say doesn't have it in terms of that he doesn't want to use them. Hellions coming across here to try and take out some of these Hydras, but of course Hellions aren't really that good against Hydras anyway, not to mention the fact if they don't have Blue Flame, they are especially not good. But the Blue Flame is finally on the way. Let's have a quick look at the production tab. I'm just moving in my seat because my leg is actually asleep and I'm sitting on it. We've got Blue Flame on the way, +3 weapons for Terran vehicles, and we also have a couple of Thors on the way. He's going to use them to perhaps use them to control the skies. There are a few Mutalisks around, although I'm not sure if Zergie has actually seen them. And from Nestea, we've got +1 to Zerg Flyer Armor, and you get that one there to just help out as much as he can. He might be trying to use Broodlords later to actually push in, but we'll have to see. So as I said, this is a part where it comes down to tactical sort of decision making. This is a part where decision making can make a huge effect on how the game actually plays out, because this is very much the sort of the chess, like the chess time of StarCraft, is where if you move your pieces into the wrong spot and you do not see the attack coming from your opponent, you are going to get stomped. And that is also obviously accentuated by the fact that Nestea really doesn't have too much to go on in terms of minerals, but he does obviously have very huge force here with upgrades. Upgrades providing a really great buffer for Nestea for his units. And it looks as if, what is this doing? It's going down to the 9 o'clock here. Hey man, there's like 500 minerals there. I need them. But he's going to float down there and probably take all of those out. With a mule, I would suspect, because they'll mine through those pretty quickly. But as you can see here, look at this Terran wall from Zergie. He's got a buttload of Hellions here. We've got some tanks, we've got some Thors for air cover, and we've got obviously the Vikings as well. I want to see some positional changes from Zergie though. I want to see some, perhaps poke around, see if he can actually find these overlords. He probably knows that they're sitting here under cover of these spore crawlers, but I know every single Zerg player is sort of sitting out there at the moment screaming out, but Spore Crawlers do jack all because they're absolutely useless. They have terrible range, they have pretty terrible damage as well. Look at that, 15. Nothing at all. Either way, they are going to cover the Overlords, but now is also another point to make is that Nestea is in a position where he... Oh, there you go, look at that. This, whatever that was, I think it was SCV or a Hellion maybe, goes down. But Nestea is in a spot where he needs to make sure that the positioning of his units is adequate. He's sort of in this spot where I think we'll call it 3 parts. We've got the main here. He does not want to lose some of these tech buildings. Obviously, perhaps the Baneling next can go down. He doesn't. Banelings aren't really going to help just at the moment. Obviously, the spawning pool. You never want to lose that. Doesn't want to lose the Great Aspire. He might make a switch back to Brood Lords, and this mule just coming across here, just doing a bit of scouting there. And Zergie a bit unhappy about that one. And obviously Nestea as well does not want to lose these Overlords, so this is sort of the third position which he has to make sure he is on top of, and obviously with this massive amount of Overlords here, he's covering them with the Spore Crawlers. And the third problem that Nestea has is making sure he's holding this expansion. Even though this is actually nearly mined down, as you can see, he needs to make sure he's holding that because he does not want to just sort of fall down and lose his only income. I know he has banked up a lot. If you have a quick look at the resources tab, they're both sitting on quite a high amount of minerals and gas at the moment. Both of them sort of sitting around the 4k minerals and about 2k gas marks. So they're sort of banking up a bit, but I suppose they can do it at this stage of the game. Now, as this does get quite an extensive game, we're going to speed it up a little bit because I know you guys, some of you guys who just want to see the action are sort of getting a bit antsy at the moment. And want to see how we go from here for you guys who are looking for the strategy and how you actually play in this position. I'll keep an eye on what is happening, but we've got some mutalists down here. We have a total of 26 muters around the map. I think they're all here, but what we want to see in this sort of position from both of the players, especially from the Terran, I know he's sort of sitting here and everyone's thinking, oh, but he's got like 10,000 doors and, you know, 1,000 tanks and all this sort of stuff. He can just roll out. He cannot roll out at the moment. If he rolls out, we got creep here for the Hydras. The Hydras can just move in, attack, and kill a lot of stuff. The Ultras can take a lot of damage, of course, as well, with their 80 billion armor. How much have they got? 6 armor. Close to 80 billion. Someone do the maths. And they will just surround if Zergie tries to move out. So he cannot actually realistically move out just at the moment. So what he wants to do, what I want to see from Zergie is a bit of a switch into energy sort of units. This is something you saw a lot in Brood War when games got to this long sort of 40, 50 hour long stage, is that you will see either some, you will see the game go into very tactical mode where the players sort of move units forth, move them forward like, you know, one small position and try and take advantage of it like that, or you will see a switch into energy-based units. So energy-based units being, of course, units that do not require sort of rebuilding in terms of minerals, gas to actually make themselves useful, and I think we may actually see it here from Zergie. He's got a Ghost Academy on the way here. So for Zergie, we want to see some ghosts, we want to see some ravens, that sort of thing, that do not actually require energy to be useful. Look at these drones here. They try and take on that planetary fortress. I'll tell you what, that is not happening. They're going to push a Hydralisk along here, and the tanks are just going to deny that from coming through. So definitely not going to allow any drones in to steal some of their minerals. But as I said, energy units are sort of the key to this sort of phase of the game where you're sort of stuck. Zerg is stuck. He cannot push in because there's such a huge Terran wall here, not to mention the actual wall of these 2 factories and a command center, and then the tanks and all that sort of jazz behind them. And Terran cannot move out because he's obviously stuck for position. So, as I was saying, from Terran's perspective, we want some high-level energy unit play, and from Zerg's perspective, to be honest, as